So I wonder, Andy, is there anything, and we've talked about quite a number of topics, but is there any topic that we haven't talked about that you want to get into that you think we should spend some time on?
I really don't want to talk about this. AI is kind of looming its head,
Oh.
and there's a lot of kind of stuff around. It's going to take our jobs and all of that. I do think product design, in particular, has got itself kind of pushed onto the assembly line in a bad way, and if you think there's a sort of the bottom third of product management, which I think is kind of really poor.
Yeah.
There's other people who do it really well and have really good relationships with designers and engineers, but there's a kind of a subset where that came in, I think, unskilled, and when the kind of it was the hottest, ticket of the day. Treat design as a way to get their ideas, mock-ups of their ideas to engineering.
Uh,
Right? And if that's how you think about that, and you think this person is really just my hands, and I don't know Figma,
sure.
and I just need them to do that, then of course, basically, what you've already been doing is sort of prompt engineering to your designer GPT,
Yeah.
right? And therefore, I can kind of see why that would happen. I think none of that stuff is going to end terribly well for a bunch of reasons. I think it's just I don't think the business model is really there for the cost of it, and certainly the energy cost of it.
Yeah.
So I personally am a skeptic and think it will kind of collapse. It will, it'll still be around in some way, but I think the bubble will burst. Um, I still think that one of the things designers are very good at is discernment and taste.
Yeah.
Someone else said this, so it doesn't come from me, but I think that's one of those things that AI is really poor at.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm hopeful that we'll still be around in some form.
Yeah. So we can beat the six-fingered man, as it were.
Well, also this kind of there's already been pre-AI this push towards a mediocre middle.
Yeah.
Every app looks the
Yeah.
same, every website looks the
Yep.
same. And one of the reasons is I think that everyone's trying to go as fast as they possibly can. Like velocity is a huge thing,
Sure.
and I think it's really overrated.
Yeah.
And it's just become I ask people, they say, well, we have to get this stuff done by X. Our bosses want us to go faster, and I ask them why,
Sure.
and they don't know.
Sure.
Right? And if they ask their boss, in the end, if you keep asking and laddering it up, it's usually because someone very wealthy wants to become more wealthy quicker,
Sure.
and that's not a good reason to work weekends and evenings.
Yeah.
But I also think what happens is when people are under pressure, they'll lean into the things that they know how to do well already, that there are existing patterns of out there, or that the tools do very
Yeah.
well. And so that's why you end up with everything starting to look the same.
Yeah. Yes, and to that, I think there's also, and I've seen this before in a variety of client engagements as well as companies that I've worked for. I feel like design folks are less good at attaching the work that they do to business targets and outcomes.
Mm.
You're absolutely right. This notion of we need this faster. Why? The idea of making money or whatever the revenue is. But I think even deeper than that, that design becomes even more valuable. The capital D design and the little d design becomes far more valuable when you can say, these are the things that we're doing for the business based on the work at hand.
Yeah. And I think the reason for that is we spend the first half of our career, or a large portion of our career, talking design to designers.
Yeah,
And so there's a whole bunch of self-evident truths that make sense to
yeah,
us. It's not that they don't make sense. Stakeholders in other areas just don't care, and it's not their job to care.
sure.
Like the CEO, the big shocking truth, I think, for a lot of design leaders is to realize the CEO doesn't really care about design, even if they've installed you as the head of
Yeah,
design. They care about something else. And, so there's a magic question that I always ask, which is, so what? Who cares?
mm-hmm.
Why does this matter?
Sure.
And it's the way to ladder that up. So if you say, well, we want more service designers on this, in our team,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
so what? Who cares? Your CEO doesn't care,
Right.
any more than if the accountants say we need more accountants, they
Right.
don't kind of go, well, why? So you say, well, because then we can get a better sense of we're siloed at the moment, and we really need some people to kind of map out the interconnected stuff, or map out the end-to-end experience and see where we're failing and where there's sort of handoffs between things.
Sure.
So what? Who cares? Why does that matter?
Right.
And it will get up to something like, well, we will make fewer mistakes. We will send fewer people to the call center,
Sure.
or support. We will not have to do things twice
Right.
and all of that stuff. Eventually, it always ladders up to we can make more money, we can save money, or we can mitigate risk.
Right.
And sort of preventing risk is really saving money in disguise.
Sure.
And so, but in that ladder, depending on what stakeholder you're talking to, you find the right thing that they care about. And then you can kind of start there and go, well, we keep repeating a lot of work and it costs us a lot of money and resources that we could be putting elsewhere on innovative things and all of that.
Sure.
And that is quite compelling.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah, well, we don't want to be doing that. We really want to be. Well, the way we think we can do that is if we map out the end-to-end process.
Yeah.
And then you're saying, and so in order to do that, we need some more service designers.
Right.
And you start at the other end. And that I've found is a really, when I get people to present their stuff to me in coaching, that's almost always what we do, which is to try and get it out of that self-evident loop
I see.
of more service designers. Why? Because service designers are great.
Yeah. Yeah.